Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We go behind the scenes to see how jelly beans are made, as well as an insight into the special techniques used to make these candies. Jelly beans are popular with kids, and even many adults have unapologetically confessed their love for these candies. But what about it makes them so loved? They may be tiny, but jelly beans are some of the biggest selling confectionaries in the world, and it's not hard to see why. Apart from the fact that they are absolutely delicious, they are also a bit of a wonder, especially when you start to think about how they come in so many different colors and flavors, or how they get their bean shape, or their very bright colors. Well, you're about to find out. Before discussing how jelly beans are made in the factory, let's briefly discuss where they came from. Oddly, nobody knows for sure how these candies came to be or who invented them, but most accounts confirm that they were invented by a confectioner in Boston in the 1860s. However, it wasn't until about 1905 that these candies became popular in the US, and different confectionery companies began producing them. All these years later, jelly beans are now produced on an international scale, and billions of them are manufactured all year round. Because of their egg-like shape, jelly beans are often associated with Easter celebrations, and that's the time of year when demands for these candies spike, but they're used for other celebrations too, like Christmas or Halloween. Whether there is a holiday or not, many people just love to eat jelly beans for the fun of it. So there's a high demand all year round. Thanks to jelly bean factories, the crazy demands can be met in no time, and you don't have to worry about jelly bean scarcity ever. The raw materials used to manufacture jelly beans are sugar, lots and lots of it, corn syrup, food starch, and natural or artificial flavorings. Other minor ingredients are essentially chemical-based, such as emulsifiers, anti-foaming agents, confectioner glaze, and coloring. All of these candies are carefully put together to form the candy with thin, soft shells and thick gel interiors. But before the manufacturing process begins, the jelly bean manufacturer works with food scientists to come up with a flavor-color combination that is only known to the company. These combinations can be based on artificial or natural ingredients, and they can include fruit extracts, chocolate, coconut, fruit juice, peanuts, vanilla, oils, frozen dried eggs, milk, fruit powders, and the list goes on. The combination used for each process depends on the flavor being produced, and depending on what's gaining popularity, the jelly bean manufacturer can come up with as many flavor-colored combinations as they like. These combinations are then transported to the factories, where they are used in specific amounts. The chewy center of the jelly beans is made first at the factory. For this, large amounts of water and corn syrup are mixed in a large kettle and heated until the mixture reaches 180 degrees Celsius. The heated mixture is then transported to a mixer, and at this point, liquefied sugar, glucose, and food starch are added to the syrup as well. A huge mixer stirs them all together until the mixture is consistent. Natural flavors are also added, and the factory makes sure to add flavors that would complement the eventual flavor and color of the jelly bean. For example, peach puree is used for peach-flavored jelly beans, and coconut flakes for coconut-flavored ones. Next, the jelly-like mixture is molded into tiny bean shapes through a process called starch casting. As the name implies, cornstarch is used for this process. A machine called a mogul is filled with lots of dry cornstarch, and the mogul deposits a layer of the white powder onto large trays, which pass down below via a conveyor system. After being covered with the starch, the trays move on to a machine die which impresses bean-shaped dents into the starch layer. For each cornstarch tray that passes through the machine die, as many as 1,200 dents are made, and each dent is the size and shape of the center of a jelly bean. The dented trays then move to a filling area where a depositor fills each dent with the hot jelly-like mixture, which forms the jelly bean center. The depositor accurately squeezes the mixture through its thin nozzle into each tiny hole in the cornstarch trays. Once that's done, the filled trays are taken to a curing room, where it cools and solidifies overnight. This curing room is constantly monitored, and physical conditions such as temperature and humidity are frequently regulated. Otherwise, the solidification process of the jelly could go sideways. Once the cooling is complete, the cornstarch molds are taken out of the curing rooms, and the solidified jelly bean centers are dumped into tumblers containing granulated sugar and flavoring or color in some instances. On the other hand, the cornstarch has absorbed moisture from the jelly, so it's dried and reprocessed before it can be used to make molds for more jelly bean centers. The now solid candy centers placed in the tumblers are spun along with these ingredients for a while. After the spinning, the jelly bean centers are then wheeled carefully back to the curing room for another night. After spending some time in the curing room, the candy centers are sorted based on colors and flavors, and those containing the same flavors and colors are placed in stainless steel vessels called pans. Next, centers in separate pans are given their hard protective sugar shells through the panning process. These pans are shaped like a globe, except they are open on one end, and the bottom end is connected directly to a rotating power source. In addition to the jelly bean centers, more sugar is added to the pan as it rotates several hundred times each minute. Instead of being added all at once, the sugar is added at intervals, and this causes the formation of about 5 layers formed by different kinds of sugar. The deepest layer is formed by rough granulated sugar, and as the mixing progresses, each layer is smoother and smoother until the final layer is made using finely powdered sugar. In between each layer of sugar, factory workers add beakers of syrup into the pan and watch each layer of sugar solidify before adding the next. For a finishing touch, a glaze of confectioner's sugar is added and mixed with the jelly beans, giving them a glistening effect. Next, the candies are removed from the pan and placed on large trays, which are taken once again to the curing room. And because curing time differs for different flavors, the jelly beans are cured separately. Some are cured in 24 hours, while some more intense and sour flavors could take several days. Afterward, the manufacturing process of the jelly beans is complete, and all that's left is the packaging. For the packaging, similar or complementary flavors of jelly beans are mixed in a large bin. The bin has a rotating component and a grid under it, which empties into a receiving bin directly underneath. The purpose of the bin is to separate the perfectly sized jelly beans from those that are too small or too big. Those that are too small fall through the grid into the receiving bin, while the big ones get stuck in the rotating component. Those that can move freely within the bin are the perfect ones, and they're extracted and dumped on a conveyor system that transports them to the packaging area. A packaging machine seals a specific number of jelly beans into a bag, and a factory worker arranges each bag into cartons, which are shipped to hundreds of millions of customers worldwide. What's your favorite jelly bean flavor? Leave your answer in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for new videos.